Absolutely, there isn't. And the kind of sessions. So,
Mm.
I would also like talk about this, Harsha, that the kind of sessions that I've done as well. So things like even I mean, these are fine, having smart goals and doing a lot on skills, but even things like what do you do, the science behind clothing, the science behind
Mm.
what you eat, the science behind a whole lot of these things. So maybe at some point you can have something which is non-traditional as well.
Definitely, definitely.
Over to you.
So, thank you, Kusum. Pooja, it's sharp 4 o'clock. You can start and then we can take the show ahead. Thank you, Pooja.
Hello and good evening, everyone. We are back again all together for one more Power Fact session. So, TIE team invites everyone and welcomes everyone from the core of the heart to this TTL. Let me speak about the vision and the mission of TIE. TIE Association was formed with an idea to bring all teachers, owners, school heads, trustees of Bhavnagar on one common platform. TIE offers a comprehensive knowledge base to teachers with its various events with the best speakers at the doorstep of Bhavnagar. Even the most competent educators are benefiting from TIE events. They are constantly upgrading themselves, and that we witnessing past three seminars. And I'm thankful, and I think everyone is thankful to the president, Harsha ma'am, for this honor and this privilege we are getting through TIE to upgrade ourselves with insightful sessions. So on this note, I would like to welcome my one of my favorite person, Ms. Bhumiba Gohil. She has a really enriched profile and a huge profile too. So Bhumi ma'am is doctorate in educational, sorry, psychology. Ma'am has researched in the field of emotional intelligence. She is principal at Amarjyoti Saraswati Vidyalay. With Bhumi ma'am, she has numerous list of award and winner of numerous awards. She's a speaker and a trainer. And as far as I know, Bhumi ma'am, I love the composed form and the calmness in her. And what Harsha says, she's a role model for all of us. So I welcome Bhumi ma'am to just take on through the session. On to you, Bhumi ma'am.
Thank you very much, Pooja. Hello, everyone. That was a lovely introduction that you gave. Thank you very much. Today, as we are celebrating TIE's 6th anniversary in the form of TTLF, so I'm really very excited and really very thankful that this is one kind of celebration that we would have never thought of. Thanks to Harsha ma'am for combining all of us and bringing us all together on this platform. As today's Power Pack session, we have Ms. Kusum Kanwar with us, a very charming lady, as I can see her on the screen, with a beautiful smile. Let me give a brief introduction about ma'am. She is the managing director of Kangaroo Kids International Kandivali, a CEO of Adapt Skills, Skill Training and Development for School Stakeholders. She is also the state president of Women Entrepreneur and Enterprise, as well as Confederation of Indian Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises. She is the global ambassador for diversity and inclusion in education, a girl child GCPIT. She is the cluster director of Pathshala, that is the K-12 segment. She is also the national core committee member for Association for Primary Education and Research, that is APER. She is the ambassador for principals to ECA. A long list of responsibilities that she holds also includes the Global Youth Parliament Joint Secretary India. She also chairs the former principal of Belangbong High International School, Malad, and the former head of schools operation of Kangaroo Kids Education Limited. For today's session, I'm really very excited, ma'am, because it says about goals. And we as teachers are always curious to know about goals as we give all these lectures to our children that they should have goals in life. And we are very much excited to listen from you what you have to tell us about goals and especially SMART goals in life. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and such a beautiful introduction. Thank you, Bhumiba and Pooja, for this honor. So it's Om Namah Shivaya to everyone. So very happy greetings to all of you on the panel and to all our viewers and audience. I see it's a very collaborative and an audience that is chatting up also so much. Thank you so much. So today on this auspicious day, we are set to have SMART goals for each one of us. So thank you and congratulations, dear Harsha Ramayar, Dr. Bhumiba, and Pooja, and the full team of the TIE, that is your teachers, the team of Ignited Educators, the Teachers Learning Fest TTLF 2021 for actually organizing this for the e-workshops. And special congratulations for celebrating 6 years of the association, the Bhavnagar Preschool Association. Fantastic. Thank you for having me on your esteemed platform today. Very humbling to be appreciated and honored on the TTLF 2021 platform, a very special start workshop series for everyone. So my sincere gratitude for this reverence and invitation. I'm speaking on SMART and smarter goals today. The takeaways for all, whether you're a teacher, you're a parent, or any other professional from any industry or any walk of life, will actually be defining, smarter goals. That is specific, your measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound objectives, which we evaluate and resize at times. We will discuss the key factors. That's the time management, because that's very important in goal setting. Also, we speak about how our mindsets it affects setting up of goals. What is procrastination and why do we procrastinate? So what are the science behind procrastination actually, in brief? And I request everyone to keep a book, a pencil, a pen to work on a few reflections and points as we go by. So thank you. I'm already so beautifully introduced, and all I would like to say is my appetite for serving education revolves around mentoring and coaching the future generations, whether directly in schools or through parents, teachers, the community, with associations like TIE, ECA, APER, and various other, being the president of Women Entrepreneurs Enterprise with the Confederation of Indian Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, and as the Global Ambassador for Diversity, Inclusion of the Girl Child Education. So I work on the premise that children are India's future. So how do we put children at the center of everything while designing for change? So we're believing that dreams are seeds of transformation and innovation, and the importance of dreaming big and acting on it with new age mindset and skills, both for children and adults alike. So I'll be sharing my screen now. So my discussions, like I say, always revolve around new age skill sets for all, why and how education system can encourage a good mix of both your right brain. Can you see my screen? Yeah, could you all see my screen?
No,
right?
ma'am.
Right.
No, ma'am. The screen
Yeah.
isn't visible as yet.
Yes, now it is.
Sorry, yes.
Perfect.
Perfect, right? Okay. So my discussions always, revolve around new age skill sets for all. Why and how education system can encourage a good mix of, both your right brain activities like art, like empathy, resilience, social emotional learning, that which teaches us to be human beings first, and left brain activities, that's your sciences, your math, your coding, your tech. So in order to stay relevant in the 21st century, we need to create something that has a positive and lasting impact. So if we want to see a systematic change in this world, and why I'm talking about these things is because as teachers, it's important for us to set these kind of goals for for ourselves and for our children, because this is what is going to be so pertinent in the world post pandemic, or even in the world of pandemic that we are living. So we will be covering the following in our time together today. That's what does SMART stand for? Why do we need to set goals? How is setting goals important during crisis? Goals that have helped you during COVID. What stops you from being smart? And how do you attain work-life balance? So, what is smart? So, just like hard work and smart work are two different things, smart and smarter goals are the best goals, and we need to set them, right? So, what is smarter? Very simply, they're specific, they're measurable, they're actionable, they're assignable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. And smarter is to evaluate and readjust. So let's discuss the criteria for setting SMART goals. We set SMART goals to give us a clear direction on what we want to achieve, right? We have a plan to achieve it and when we want to achieve it. I will mention details about each step. So, what we have done is what we want to achieve. Do we have a plan to achieve it? And when do we want to achieve it? Right? So, these three things you can write down. So, writing down your SMART goals helps you as you can see them daily, right? And why I'm saying that, because just keeping it in your mind, it might just go anywhere. So if you've listed it somewhere as to what and how much time you're going to require, it will, you start planning your daily goals, and you can see them daily as well. So these are objectives that include the key factors. I already have spoken to you about time management, about growth mindset, procrastination, and that we will discuss in detail today as our key takeaways. Now, when I'm saying the S matters, S specific, be specific. When writing your goal, describe exactly what is it that you want to achieve. If you set a vague goal, you don't achieve anything specific, right? Research by creators of goal setting theory, that's Locke and Latham, found that in 90% of studies conducted, specific and challenging goals led to higher performance than when people just set easy goals. So do your best. Once set, it is important to have clear and established aims. Avoid setting goals so broad that they're overwhelming and therefore too difficult for you to set into action. Being specific means don't get lost in the details, right? The image in your head might not be the image that you wanted to have after the task is completed. It's important to not get lost in the details. Trying to make everything perfect in some situations, when you have a lot of time to complete a task, it's good to have a detailed plan. However, there are two types of plans that you can have, where it's a long term goal you're setting, and you're setting a short term goal. However, not so good if you're pressured for time. So don't set up a small time goal if you're pressed for time. All right. So, and next is measurable, right? And let me tell you, in this whole thing, when you have a sort of a mind map, right? You have the bigger vision that is already put in front of you, that this is how this is my goal. And then you start having a sort of a drawing, a mind map, when you say that these are the steps I'm going to take to achieve that goal. So measurable. Once you have a specific goal pinned down, it's important to be able to measure the success or completion of the goal. So this doesn't have to be like on a numeric scale or statistics. It just has to be measurable in some sense, so that it is clear when you have reached or are close to reaching your goal. So for example, we take, if the goal is to reach a certain number of followers on Twitter, or on a certain number of followers when you have started floating this workshop. Okay, now having a measurable goal in the form of a number is sure way of measuring your progress, right? So that's about measuring it. Now it has to be action oriented or assignable. Not something that only you can do it, but something that you can delegate and give it to your team as well. So decide what actions need to be taken to achieve your goals, the step to take to reach your desired destination. For that, it must be assignable, be it for yourself or be it for your team. If you decide you want to achieve something as a team, it is important that someone is responsible for tracking progress. So you work as a team and implementing action steps and keeping the team motivated towards reaching this goal, right? So if it is your goal and you have a team that is there together, so it's always better to delegate it. And but you as a person, you as in charge of that goal, your vision, you have to be able to motivate the team towards reaching that goal. Being realistic. When setting your goals, be realistic. What are you trying to achieve? Sorry, and how long it will take you. It is essential that any goals set for teams or for individuals are relevant to either to you or to your home, your school, and organization. So these are wide aims and goals, right? Because anything that you do for your organization, first you have to work on your own self, and your own self is yourself, your home, and your people around you, and that's how you'll be able to work for your school and for your organizations. Sometimes we replace relevant with realistic as well, right? In the criteria to emphasize a point. So although we place emphasis on relevance, in our outline, the importance of setting realistic goals set at the right level for your team members and their capabilities and resources should not be ignored or underestimated. So you need to keep the strengths of team in mind when you are setting a goal. And if you're doing it at a personal level, keep the strengths of family, right? Of friends, if you're setting some goals with them. Goals need to be productive. So, as a leader of a school, your classroom, as a teacher, you're the leader of your class, even whether it's a physical class or an online, it is particularly important that you help your team link their goals back to the wider team and schools or organizational goals, right? So you cannot have a goal in isolation when you are, yes, you are conducting a class, right? Because that has to align with the bigger goal of the organization. Okay, so it can't just be that you are taking one of sessions and your methodology does not align with the methodology and the vision of the organization. So everything needs to be taken care of. So one of the best ways to motivate your people is to ensure they know how their work is contributing to the bigger picture, and for that, feedback is crucial to grow. The next is we talk about time bound. So when setting a goal, we write down an exact date of when you want to achieve the goal. Right? It's not productive to set a deadline which is too far in future, or a simple task, or an unrealistic short deadline for something complex and time consuming. So you cannot have something like a 1 hour or 2 hours or 24 hours to attain a bigger goal, right? Now all this, I hope as you all are listening, you have also put down your goals, because then we will discuss that a little later. Now this is a common pitfall that can be incredibly demotivating for you and your teams as well, because they are either left with an abundance of time so they have so much time in which they are not pushing themselves, or they are left feeling stressed and demotivated when they fail to complete goals in the time frame that's provided on your vision. We also have something called evaluate, hoping that by the end of the process, till you're time bound, you're specific, you've done given a specific goal which is measurable, it's actionable, it's relevant, it's time bound. So by the end of the process, you've achieved your goals. Continuously evaluate your goals all the way along the process. This can differ, from person to person. Some people may want to evaluate the process of the goal daily. So you have daily goals, right? Some weekly and some bi-monthly. So it depends what kind of a goal that you've created and how much time you've given, right, to it. So if it is it's a goal you have to achieve in 2 months time or 3 months time, then you can have daily goals, and you can have weekly goals, and then you can have a monthly goal. So whatever you prefer, make sure you are continuously evaluating your goals to help make sure you achieve them. Now this goal links very well with timely in what you have, a timeline based approach to goal setting, which we also do, and I do very often. So if I had to prepare for the workshop today, so I knew that I have about 15 days, and so I need to start my research. I need to also understand what is going to be the target audience, who am I going to be speaking to, and what is it that I need to get into it. And this is how by this day my presentation should be ready. My flow, I have to have everything in my mind, and that's how I'm going to work. So these are all piecemeal daily goals, or you can have a weekly goal for that. It also means evaluating your performance right at the end of the process, so that you can learn from your mistakes and optimize your next goal setting process. So for me, this is like goal setting. So if I'm giving you a workshop today, or I'm talking to you about creating smart goals or smarter goals, this is also setting up a smart goal for me. So for me, this was a short term one, right? For me, it took me it's at the end of 15 days. What I've achieved is what I'm going to evaluate at the end of this of 1.5 hours today, where when I'm talking to you, or when there are questions asked. So that's the time I'm going to assess, and I'm going to take that back. So that will also help me stay focused all the way, because this has helped me stay focused all the way in the process. But your feedback, what will your feedback do for me is it will readjust. If if I'm faced with a continuous problem, of people not understanding what I'm doing, or I or during the process also, if I'm hitting the wall, I said, oh, I don't know what needs to be done. Well, then there is a letter R. That letter R, always keep that in mind, is here to help you. If you're facing a continuous problem with your goals, it's time to take a step back and readjust, right? So readjusting doesn't mean throw away the goals and get new ones. It doesn't mean that. It's just that there needs to be some little alignment. It's a means to an end. It's a way of getting around your problems. All right. So we will also take a few examples of smart goals, which can be, so I'm taking very generic examples. Okay. So I'm not taking any classroom ones, because, we may have a mixed audience also here. So a specific one could be begin a new social media campaign, right? Now a new social media campaign, or something what Pooja, Bhumiba and Harsha, they did with this workshop, right? Of floating this series of workshop, right? So was it measurable? Did it generate new content downloads? And for example, one is for workshop, the for others it could be you want to restart your school, right? After COVID, the pandemic, and so is it measurable? Is Was that social media campaign actionable? Marketing team or a team responsible for running the campaign and measuring performance, was it relevant? Did you promote what you wanted to? Was it time bound? You have this workshop for a month. Did it start going? Did it start rolling at least a month in advance or 3 weeks in advance? Was it time bound? Then you evaluate it. If it's reaching the target audience, how many walk-ins or how many people who have registered, and if you're talking about school admissions, do you have walk-ins? Do you have telephonic inquiries you got? So if you didn't, is there something where you need to readjust? You can always readjust the numbers or targets that you have set, right? So I hope this is clear. I can't see the chat. So will you all let me know? And because I can't see the chat here. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can't see the chat. So if there are
You can't see
questions, I'll take them towards the end.
questions yet not come, ma'am.
Right. So if they are there, so if you can just help me out with that also, okay? Because I can just see this big screen and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So another example could be, of a smart goal is add a new feature to the app, because we are in a digital world, so I think it's good for me to take these kind of examples. Add a new feature to the app which is measurable, have it ready to deploy to the app store. Actionable, development team assigned responsibilities, because you want to develop an app where you can track the admissions, you can track how many inquiries. So then you have a team assigned to it, because you cannot do it alone. Is it relevant? Does it improve your current product? And by product here meaning that, is it are you able to track the number of people joining in, or number of admissions that have happened, and make things more accessible for the users? Is it time bound? So 2 months, 3 months, or is it just a month that you have? So the 5 SMART goal criteria mentioned are a great basis that will change the way you and your team create and assign goals. So you lay your milestones, have clear, concise, relevant goals that makes any work environment or any home environment more communicative, more motivating and effective. So once you are set up with your new goals, the next step is to ensure you commit and learn together as a team, as a family. So why do we actually need these goals in the first place? Right. So we need them. You can also write this question with you, and maybe whatever answer you have, I would also like to hear that, because setting your goals is crucial, for planning, your day as well. Uh, Life is a big thing, but at least if you plan your day, plan your week, plan your month, and plan your months, or plan your year. So by setting your goal, you can create appropriate targets, and you won't fall off schedule before deciding your objectives. Okay. So, however, you have to look deeply inside and ask yourself, do you want to achieve those things? Right? How many of you here do the to-do list? I do it, daily. In fact, even if I don't do it daily, at least, I have a target of 3, 4 days. I have a to-do list where I keep ticking off. And if it has not worked for me on that day, I shift it to another day, and why it did. And that's where I, reevaluate and then rework on that, right? So that's very significant. That's why I'm saying that, why putting down things on paper is important. So you are then conscious of your own objectives. Your own aspirations can help you maximize your productivity, help you to see the bigger picture and where you want to reach, right? Because a to-do list is just, it's not a bigger picture, but it's for you to complete for that day or for that week. Now this takes us to the Maslow's law of self-actualization. So our needs and desires that propel us to set daily short-term goals or long-term goals for ourselves. And why so? So we are all aware, I think as teachers, we are all aware of Maslow's law, right? So you all can put in your chat and say that yes, you are. And let me see if I've got something here on the chat. Yes, nice. So someone has written goals help us to plan a target in a much more efficient way. Very good. So I'll just go through it later. So we are all aware of Maslow's law. And so let's look at it as to what it is. And you'll keep, when you have your paper and pen with you, as I'm going through the different, needs, right? So I think it is good for you to start writing that down also. So Maslow's process of self-actualization, because that's where you need to reach 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth, step. That's your process. So this theory is by Abraham Maslow. As you all know, it puts forward that as people, we are motivated by 5 basic categories of needs, right? Maslow proposed that the human needs can be organized into a hierarchy. And that helps. Sorry, I've got a bad throat today, so please bear with this. So which ranges from more concrete needs, right? what do we need, such as food and water, to abstract concepts such as self-fulfillment, okay? Only when your lower need is met, the next need on hierarchy becomes our focus of attention. So why do we as teachers, even in the class, right, we ask children, have they, say on an online class, have you had your breakfast today? And why we start with something so basic? Because if we know why a child, we realize that a child is distracted, it could be because of a number of things, and these are the basic needs, right? If you've had enough water, you've had food, so these are very, very basic needs of a child. And for a human being, it is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. So physical, so Maslow considered physical needs to be most essential of our needs. For example, we are extremely hungry, it's hard to focus on anything else besides food, right? How many of you fasting here, are you thinking about food? Right. So I had a lot of fruits before I started this workshop, because I knew that for another, so till 5 o'clock, I'm just going to probably be sipping some hot water and that's it, right? So another example of physical need would be the need for adequate sleep, right? So if you agree with me, just put it on your chat. So it is food, then it is your sleep. Safety. Once our physiological needs are met, the next need is that arises is a safe environment, right? Our safety needs are evident. So early in childhood, as children, we have a need for safe and predictable environments, right? That's why we say it's always better to prepare a child. If you're moving from one activity to the other, even a child needs to know that yes, we are moving from this activity to the next, and this is what we are going to do. And typically, because sometimes if you're just taking children from one room to the other, they might react with fear or anxiety, and that can happen to us also, when these are not met, these needs are, the safety thing is not met. So Maslow pointed out that safety needs are more obvious in emergency situations, wars, disasters. What about the pandemic? Interestingly, right, this need can also explain why we do things like, we purchase insurance and contribute to saving accounts, right? That's our need for safety. Or more relatable is when the lockdown one happened, that was announced, most of us use the H mechanism. Anyone who can write down what the H mechanism I mean over here? Anyone would know what the H mechanism is, right? So Bhumiba is fasting, I'm also fasting. Yes, the H mechanism, right? The H mechanism, okay, I'm going to tell you, is hoarding, right? It's just hoarding and getting everything. So everything from grocery to basic need item we did just before or when the lockdown one was announced, right? So we were operating at the safety hierarchy at that point of time, right? So that we don't run out of grocery, we don't run out of things. We don't know how long the lockdown is going to be. So I would like to speak of the three phases. That's your spur, SPUR, keep that in mind, lurch, and cope, for all of us relate to experiences during this pandemic. So almost every person around the world has gone through these similar, if not same experiences. So every one of us has experienced this in in some way or the other. Like we see that the pandemic has actually affected each one of us on this planet. Maybe the degrees are different, but it has, we've all been affected by it. So it is the same experience, right? This will also help you reflect and reevaluate your experiences, and what could we have done better, or what learnings are there for future. Again, those learnings, if you jot it down, okay, this is what I did, and this is my learning, and so this is how I'm going to operate in future. What happens when you're creating a document, right? You're creating it for your own self, maybe for reference. Like this pandemic has hit us a century after the earlier one, right? So if we had something to refer to, maybe we would have been better prepared. So now going back to the three phases: spur, lurch, and cope. Phase one was spur. And what I mean by spur in COVID 19 was we were all shocked. S of the spur, it shocked all of us. But after a bit of protest about whether it would change our personal lives dramatically, we struggled with the idea of consequences. So at some point, we understood that this could be tragic for many, and it has. So I've also had a tragic moment in my own family, right? And we needed to take action for ourselves and families, and friends. And we began to accept the reality. We started to prepare a response, right? So we have spur. That is, you were shocked about it, and then you started preparing for it, and you knew that you understood that this could be tragic. So you started preparing a response. So I call this phase one as spur. Lurch was lockdown preparation. So L, the lockdown prep that you did. Then there was understanding importance of social distances, the U in that. Then the risk checks, you started checking on the risk factor. How you did that? You did it through news on TV. Some of us also relied a lot on WhatsApp, checking with your families and friends. That became more important than any other times for us, right? You agree? If you agree, right? Yes, I agree. Checking with families, friends became more important than any other times for us, right? Hoarding, right? Some of us did that irrational hoarding. We panicked because of the news. Never mind, that stage is gone. You all agree. So now that this is phase three, that is your cope. What is cope? Right? Cope was connection, organization, your perspectives, right? Your endurance. So we are all settled now. And this is also an opportunity to remind ourselves of the skills that sustain all of us. Cope, connection, organize, perspective refers to the fact that we chose an attitude, all of us, not only as teachers, but also as anyone, as homemakers, as women. We chose, and and today also we choose an attitude towards crisis. Even if the cases are on a rise again, we all have adjusted now, and the same panic is not seen. So when making alterations in our life, next is love and belonging, right? So we again come taking you back to Maslow's hierarchy. Next is love and belonging. So the next need in the hierarchy involves feeling loved and being accepted. All right. So this need includes both, your romantic relationships as well as ties with friends and family members. Like how we are here, in a community today, right? And it also includes our needs to feel that we belong to a social group, like to a community, like we are in today here. Importantly, this need includes both feeling loved and love towards others. Also, how love and belonging needs does impact our well-being. That's the reason I'm asking you, is that fine? Is it okay? Are you understanding? What do you think? What do you feel? So the more I get on the chat that yes, this is fine, people are understanding, it's going to encourage me more. Okay. So I'll to give more examples and to work on it. Now, for example, as per research, having social connections is related to better physical health and feeling, and feeling isolated. So if you have better social connections, so you have better health, and you will not feel isolated, which has negative consequences for health and well-being, right? Next is esteem. So our esteem needs, involves, or the desire to feel good about ourselves. These needs are feelings of self-confidence and feeling good about oneself. So when people's self-esteems are met, they feel confident and see the contributions and achievements as more valuable and important. right? You all agree. The day you feel that yes, this is making a difference. Today, when I'm going to feel like yes, this workshop has made a difference, or it's going to make a difference in people's life, they have had a lot of takeaways, I'm going to feel important and valuable, right? Now, the main thing, self-actualization. It refers to feeling fulfilled, right? A feeling of living up to your potential. One unique feature of self actualization is that it looks different for everyone. Your self actualization is going to be different. For you, Pooja's will be different. Bhumi Baz is going to be different. Mine is going to be different. Harsha's is going to be different. Because remember, all of us have come with our own blueprint, right from your child, yourself, your family, anybody around you. They have their own blueprint in life, and we can't alter that, right? By just imposing something, of what we think is, should be right. What we can do is then set these sort of goals for them, right? For them to actually reach that self actualization, or reach, or go step by step in these 5 points. Now, again, I'm going to tell you, for one person, self-actualization might involve, helping others, right? So many of you can relate to it, that, you love to help people, right? So for another, it might involve achievements in artistic or creative fields, right? You gain immense pleasure and immense satisfaction when you're drawing, or when you're doing some, art and craft things, essentially, which gives us self satisfaction, right? This is the highest human need that we strive for, all of us, and thus we set ourselves up for SMART goals, all right? So, why am I talking about Maslow's? Is because of this. So, when we have to reach, the self actualization, what do I need? To do to reach that self actualization. Okay, so we can, probably, all of you all write down your Maslow's law of self-actualization for ourselves, for yourselves. I'll give you about 60 seconds for that, right? You can also refer to, the slide here, Maslow's slide. All right, so moving on. Okay. So let's look at something interesting, which all of us have experienced this to some degree or the other, right? Now, for most of us, how did SMART goals look like during the crisis, of the three levels that are mentioned here? So at the organizational, if you are with any organization, or with at the school level, at the coordination, supervisory level, departmental level, or at your own individual level. So we are going to talk about these three, okay? So goal setting has shown to improve persistence, right, in the face of obstacles. And I'm adding personal and professional ground level experiences too. It's likely that in the midst of a crisis, you're managing to complete your priorities, and performance process, is held up, right? However, a shared vision. So if you're only going to work alone, it might just get held up. However, if you have a shared vision, that you have a vision with the group, you have a vision with everyone, and goals is more important than ever. So research is also focusing on how professionals, they handle crisis, has shown that those who handle crisis well take a broader outlook and a longer term view. Okay. And in addition to changing priorities, so each day you are stressed, and each day you're changing your priorities. So it's always, a person who is calm and is got, takes a broader outlook of to life and longer term, will be the person who will, be able to handle the crisis better. So your organization is also dealing, or your homes are also dealing with major shifts in how you operate. Example, moving to an entirely now remote workforce or online mode for all of us as teachers. It involved not only of having laptops, having better connectivity, having a whole lot of these things that we have been we've had to make changes. We've had to make changes where we need a quieter room, and we just need a place for ourselves where we can interact with children as well, right? So a whole lot of things that we made changes in. Virtual teams are more likely to encounter challenges, with your communication and coordination. We did all have that, right in the beginning, and are more vulnerable to a lack of team cohesion at times and trust as well. So also the work hours, right? So working from home for some of us has been going too far, right? It's far beyond office hours. So I can speak for myself as well. So mine definitely has. So while COVID-19 will pass, it's unclear when that is going to be. But maintaining key aspects of goal setting, again I'm coming back to goal setting, because these things are, we really don't know when this is going to go away. But the key aspects of setting a goal setting will serve you, will serve us when decisions around everything that we are making adjustments will be on working on smart goals, and that's what is going to help us, right? Any questions on this? So promotions and yeah, so at the organization level, so in a time of crisis, what makes sense for you to pursue right now? What goals might be unattainable or not help the the organization succeed during this time? You might find that you need to adjust your strategy and communicate this to your people, to your parents, and to all your stakeholders. So strategic goals that you survive will be, having a time list, daily task in your plan, sticking to a schedule, breaking up long-term goals into short-term goals, and being cautiously optimistic, definitely. At the supervisory level, it could be how far our departments or teams have the most impact on the organization's updated goals, right? If the organization has decided that we are going to, just do online, so how are you going to align to that goal? Or if the organization said that, okay, we will have a hybrid system, so then that's how you're going to be aligned to the goals, right? That's what I mean by aligning the organizational goal. What critical goals should be carried forward at your department level? What should we leave out? What can we adjust? So at the individual level, how can my individual goal align to team goals? How can we set a goal that is inspiring? How can my updated goals still align with my personal development goals? So now more than ever, we have seen the importance of adaptability, right? We have seen agility, and we have seen, sorry, yeah, and we have seen a resilience, you can say, so in the workplace. So we can use this opportunity to create a framework or process for adjusting our goals in such times of uncertainty and disruption. So we can put our goals here, according to this. And these are the I'm just sharing the strategic goals that you can add to the goal list if you've already prepared. So that's going to help you survive, or you've already, we don't know how many more months of this pandemic is going to go on. So you can probably have a time list, you can have daily tasks in your plans. Sticking to a schedule is very important. Breaking up long-term goals into short-term goals, and being cautiously optimistic, right? So, personally, setting goals are hard enough when there is not a global pandemic going on. And in any case, and it is going on. So, but while we all practice social distancing, it's hard not to think, should I be doing more to improve myself or my life with the time I have right now? Is it important not to put too much pressure on you? It is very important not to put too much pressure on you. After all, we are living through an unprecedented, pandemic. But if you're feeling motivated to tackle new goals with the extra time that you might need some help on how to start. So I refer to Natalia's FAT and Dr. Jennifer's top tips for setting goals during this pandemic. So first is we always say that if I had time, let me just check the chat. If we have something, we fulfill our potential, better become the best version of ourselves. Very good. So we say that if I had time, because we always say that if I had time, I would do this. So start making a list of everything you wanted to do if only you had time. So make one list. If only I had time, I would do this, right? So assuming that you have time now. So whether it's singing, it's learning guitar, finishing a certain book, or learning more about personal finance, very, very important, can add to your list. If you've all seen the Paytm ad, which which they released on the Women's Day, is very, very pertinent, right? For all of us to know what financial, how to actually manage finances as women, financial management. Of course, financial autonomy is there, but financial management as well. After your list is complete, go through and pick the most important or interesting things that you have been meaning to do, or that you should start with only one or two items so that you don't get overwhelmed, right? So what I'm saying is anything that you wanted to do, right? So when you had time. So first list was if I had time. Second is daily tasks in your plan. So who knew that having groceries and vegetables delivered and then laying them down on towels, tabletops, and sanitizing would be a part of your daily life? Did you ever think that? I did not. However, we did it and we continue to do so. So it's likely that your daily tasks have been at least slightly altered due to the coronavirus outbreak, right? Whether you're cleaning your groceries, you're making your beds, you're cooking, cleaning, dusting, sweeping, swabbing, your utensils, clothes, children, monitoring their online classes, and looking after the family for 24 hours now, and work from home. So sticking to a schedule helps, right? So you need to stick to a schedule during this time in order to increase productivity. So you're probably tired of hearing this advice by now, but it's repeated because it is so true, right? People are, most productive when they stick to a schedule and hold themselves accountable. This idea that you are working in the place at home, that you have also dinner, hang out on a couch, and you also watch Netflix there, and you also place, where it's also the same place where you spend weekends just unwinding. That can be a really risky thing for people who aren't familiar with carving out a schedule to work from that same space called home, or work from home made, work from home mode. So it's recommended setting a start and an end time for your work and sticking to your work schedule within those parameters. Build breaks into your schedule so you don't end up working too much or taking too longer breaks also. So if you have your goals that are unrelated to work, set aside a specific block of time to work on that. One that is clearly built into your schedule for after work hours. So if you already build in that, okay, this is going to be my work hours, only then you can fit in your personal goals there. So focus your goals on what you can actually do right now. So what's interesting is that the things that used to be urgent are now very much non-existent, right? Take a look at things that you have been burying at the bottom of your agenda. Can any of these things be done at home or online, like taking an online course? Think about it, write that down. Break up long term goals into short term goals. Very important. The oldest trick in the book is for getting started. Start with small goals. When goals seem too large to tackle, breaking them into smaller goals and action is a surefire way to get started. So we will do more on this technique later as well. Okay. So I have a pad, which has it has about say you can say 5 days on it. So I'll say, okay, what am I doing in these 5 days? Okay, so what am I doing? Only then I'm able to figure out what I want to do in a month. So if I have this thick, this fat one here, and it's such a big book that I have to fill up that book. So I'm going to be lost. So I'm just going to take a book with 5 pages, and I'm going to say that okay, I have a pad that has 5 days on it. So I'll say, okay, what am I doing in these 5 days? Only then I'm able to figure out what I want to do in a month, right? So right now, since we are all under such enormous stress, it's easier to take it into smaller bite-sized pieces. Reaching a long-term goal is only possible by hitting on a bunch of short-term goals. You want to do an online, say a management course. So that's a bigger vision. So how are you going to do it? So, you break that into short-term goals for yourself. So once you put in an initial action into motion, it's easier to see the next steps. You can all plan all what you want, but only by taking actions you will begin to see in the progress. Always be cautiously optimistic. We all know the horrors and the downsides of what we have been through, but we know that we are eventually going to emerge from this. So if you do not succumb to the fear and use this time to work towards your goals, learn a new skill, or participate in an activity you haven't had time for, years or in a while, then do it now. That's what will help you inch up of the Maslow's hierarchy too. Your schools are bringing a wealth of knowledge and learning at your doorstep, right? Make use of it. So I encourage anyone who feels that drive to try something new and really immerse themselves in a project, pursue it. It could be an enterprise, it could be anything, but just pursue it. That's it. If you're someone who is not feeling inspired right now and you don't want to learn how to play that violin, that guitar, or churn out exotic dishes, or write a book, or start a podcast, that's okay too. ZFAT shares that, like a lot of social media professionals, he publishes his daily agenda a couple of times a week. And he says that I think that's really important thing to show is that we are doing our best. So we have big dreams like everyone else, right? But sometimes you are able to achieve them. Most of the times, even if you're able to achieve 60 to 70% of that in a day, and that includes me as well. So I think it's okay to get on, the 50 or 60% mark. But sometimes something stops us from reaching that even that 30 or 20% mark. That's when, or that's where we are coming to. That's what we need to think about that, right? So just switch off the chat. Right? So these are thought-provoking areas now. What stops you from achieving your SMART goal? So the SMART goal is right in the center. Is it time management? Is it your mindset? Or is it procrastination that keeps you away? Right? So we are going to deal with the first one. What is time management? The only thing everyone and everybody in this world has in common today or has ever had is no matter how much money you have fame or luxury, it's just those 24 hours. All of us have just 24 hours, right? We cannot have it more or we cannot have it less. And although this might not come as a surprise to you, it's worth remembering every once in a while that behind every success, there is a human being doing his or her best day after day. You must have heard this that people are wild cards in life and in business, and that can change the rules of the game at any point. And the thing that makes all the difference is how you choose to spend your time for today and every day, right? So, management of time really doesn't exist. What we mean by this is that time simply passes. You can't stop it. What you can actually have to do is, when managing your time, is actually to manage yourself. It's not managing your time. Time is ticking. You have to manage yourself, and the way you approach everything that you do, right? When we are saying cautiously optimistic, so the three images of the five biggest time wasters, which are put up here, probably you can read it, also include an overdose of social media. It will be interesting to note yours, and you can share it afterwards if you want to towards the end. Now, another goal setting is record. Always record, analyze, change. All right, the same thing that we did with smarter goals. Then spend quality time with family, which we'll discuss each point in detail. That being said, let's get to it, right? So we are saying tips to manage time, right? These are your tips. Set a goal and also rewards. So after every goal that you achieve, you can reward yourself. There's no harm in rewarding yourself, right? These rewards can go from sweets, chocolates, for me it's ice cream, and to food, to short periods of time in which you do nothing. Just relax or watch a short video. So, and then second is make a plan. Now you need to prioritize your tasks. Sometimes you can't do everything, or you don't have enough time to do it also. An effective way to do is manage your priorities. Example, important and urgent tasks. So if you're noting down something, you can write it there. You know how to make a plan. Important and urgent tasks that needs to be done right away, right? Important but not so urgent tasks that appear important. You can decide when to do them, but not before the first category, right? Third one is urgent but not important, right? Tasks that need to be done as soon as possible. Now get to work and learn to delegate. It's very important. So write it down, learn to delegate. So your goal is to do more in less time, right? Because you can't expand time or get, more hours in a day. So depending on the type of responsibilities you're dealing with, you can delegate small tasks like, hiring someone to schedule a time during the day, or, to pick up your groceries, your vegetables, to drop your laundry, etc. Right? Or you can even go for bigger things and delegate work-related tasks, to your teams. Or the same goes for mommies as well, who can delegate home chores to the children, to the spouses, and other family members too. This requires, of course, a little bit of a setup on your side, but it's worth it, right? So stick to your schedule. Like we always say, stick to a schedule with children. We are saying stick to a schedule for yourself. Start with small tweaks in your schedule. You don't need to change everything, in your life at once. Most likely start with something small, like waking up, 10 minutes earlier every morning. So it's helped for me. It's helped me at least, right? So and cut it down to 20 minutes of social media, right? Or mindless scrolling. This will give you a whole 30 minutes to read more of things you're interested, which you've been putting off for so long, right? So 10 minutes of waking up early, 20 minutes of cutting down on, say, probably the news, that is on every channel, or that what's making headlines now, Meghan and Harry, and, all the other news. Maybe it doesn't, yeah. So, so you, and do focus on things that you've been putting off for so long, like a nice long walk in the morning, right? You're getting that 30 minutes to yourself, so you can do that 30 minutes of walk. You can do that 30 minutes of just going out in the open, go to a garden, walk around your premises. But maybe it doesn't sound like that much, but 30 minutes per day means 2 hours and 10 minutes every week in which you're working on getting better, right? Like I said, for me, it has been going for morning brisk walks, right? It has helped me. So it has helped me in a lot of ways, right? So think about it. Think about what you can do in those 30 minutes. Probably I'll just give you 30 seconds to write that. Then set clear deadlines. How much time do you have to finish your, your assignment, or, say a presentation, or your lesson plan, or to create those videos to send home to children? So when do you need to complete your tasks? When we stick to our plans, we delegate, maintain schedules, stick to the set deadlines, finally you will reach your goals, right? And because you're here and you've signed up for today, you've registered for today, it means you're trying to reach your higher goals in your life and cutting down on the stuff that's dragging you behind. So, one way to start managing your time better is to evaluate how what you're doing is related to what you're trying to achieve, right? So, it's, you want to achieve something, but if you reevaluate, your goals, you see that whether all the little steps, the short-term goals that you've, kept, or you've made for yourself to achieve that real goal, is it working? Is it taking you to that direction, right? So this is easy also, to evaluate. So you can make two lists: one with the goals you're aiming for, right? One list, it could also be money, and why not? It could be love, it could be luxury, whatever it is. And another list is the things you're spending time on doing, right? So one list is where what you're aiming at. You're aiming at, becoming a millionaire, billionaire. You want, love of your life, and you want to get that love back, and you want some luxuries. You want to attain that degree, right? So whatever it is, and another list with the things you're spending time doing. If the lists don't align, it means you're probably wasting time in the wrong direction, right? Sometimes even people you spend your time with aren't the best for you. So make sure you align the list with your goals and with the list of the people you're spending time with as well, right? So diagnose your difficulty, right? It is all about self-improvement goals. So what's the RAC, or the record, analyze, the RAC method? That's you've recorded, you've analyzed, you've changed, and so that was the RAC that we spoke about. And what is mindset, or what is growth mindset? So, and the difference between the two mindsets on your, which are on your screens as well. So people with growth mindsets are forever improving, and learning new skills, right, through hard work, training, perseverance. The very reason that you're here and every day you sit here for 1.5 hours, so that's your perseverance. That's training for you. So imagine that, these 30 days, what it can do to what you're going to learn. And these are all lifelong learners. So you all are lifelong learners. You accept the because the criteria for a growth mindset is they accept and even welcome failures as a means to move forward. So what if I've not been able to do this well? But I've learned my lesson and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to the next level, or I'm going to the next step. I'm resizing myself and then coming back. So the benefits of this particular mindset is substantial. It makes relationships between people much better, working as a team with the knowledge they have to learn together, right? All of us, are sitting here as a team and learning together. What does it do? It reduces your quick judgments. It thrives on constructive criticism and involves less stress. So if you have a growth mindset, this is what it is. You are going to thrive on constructive criticism, and it definitely involves less stress because my mind is also open, to whatever feedback I get today. So fixed mindsets have the tendency to go where the least resistance is expected. They tackle the easy stuff first, right? Someone with a growth mindset might think, I enjoy a challenge because it helps me to develop into a better person. I just made a mistake, but I'm eager to learn from this and improve. So I feel very scared and worried, but that does not define who I am. I may feel worried or scared, but I'm going to overcome that, right? I'm going to ensure that I do things that I overcome this. A growth mindset is a habit that you could practice daily by stepping away from constant stream of anxiety, of negativity around you as well. Move away from negativity. Just take a deep breath, and by giving yourself the space to develop this mindset, despite extreme stress and uncertainty at different levels of your daily life. Try pranayams, try breathing. It helps, right? So some examples to to understand the difference between the fixed and a growth mindset. Some more examples. In fact, I can give you. A fixed will say, I'm so stressed, so there's no Wi-Fi with this power cut. I'm never going to finish, my lesson plan. I'm never going to finish my presentation, and I have so much to research. I have so much to go on the Google and do this kind of research. Or I have a session in the next 1 hour, and there is this power cut at home. I'm never going to be able to make it happen. What is a growth mindset, vis-a-vis? What is a growth mindset going to say? I am stressed about my lesson or about my presentation submission or my presentation to go on air, but I'm confident that I can get through this by using the resources available to me, right? I have a teacher training session and I'm checking into a cafe, and I'm going to use their Wi-Fi and the internet. So what if I have to wear a mask and deliver the session today? So that's a growth mindset. Fix would be, I know that this year is going to be a disaster. Growth would say, even though this situation is uncertain, I have the skills that I need to succeed and adapt to change. I'm also learning so many new things. My mind is full of positivity to learn and do more, right? So a fixed mindset would say, bad things like this always happen to me. Why can't I get a break? Growth would say, I have been through so many challenges, but they make me strong and resilient. So take up the growth mindset challenge. So then write this down, that what is your growth mindset challenge during this time of uncertainty. You could challenge yourself to develop a growth mindset. Focus on your potential and your strengths and the positive role that you can play during the crisis, and set smart goals, right? Now, we have been talking about procrastination. So what is procrastination? All right, and then we're going to talk about why do we procrastinate. Procrastination simply means putting off a task you should be doing, actually, to delay taking that action, to wait until later. Now, he or she procrastinated until the last minute and had to stay up all night to finish up that assignment or work. For example, you need to get your presentation and research work done. Now it's urgent. So you switch on your computer, type the topic, and leave it on because you know that it's going to take you long. So you go and make yourself a cup of coffee. Then you go onto your phone, check on your children online, your children's online classes. You chat with them as you browse their work. Go to keep the cup, in the sink, your coffee mug in the sink. You wash that cup and the other utensils also stacked in the sink, because you just want to get over that work. This is a small work, okay? Pick up a duster, dust off the tabletop, because you have to start an important work, right? And hours later, you haven't even begun doing that important work. Does it sound familiar? If it does, please write down it sounds familiar, because I to procrastinate quite a few times. So I have to always come and set my goals, right? And we call this procrastination. Now, another example that, students, or we being, when we were students, we can relate to it, is procrastinate. To procrastinate is having 2 weeks of work on the project and waiting until the night before it's due to work on. The project isn't due till Wednesday, so I have around 4 days in my hand. Time to watch the second season of Game of Thrones. Next day arrives. If I work for 2 days religiously, I'll be fine. Day before deadline arrives, I only have 1 day left and I haven't started yet. Then starts the blame game, and we start passing judgments Like, why do my teachers give us so much work and such tight deadlines? Sounds familiar? So we all create similar situations every now and then, like that time when you pulled an all-nighter to finish your history paper corrections, or that time when you watched TV all day, when you still had a pile of work to get through. This is all a part of procrastination. There's actually far more science behind procrastination than we might expect. So, if I get another opportunity at some point with you all, we can speak about the science behind it. Okay. So, here are some of the most common things we tend to procrastinate and see if this resonates. Okay. You may procrastinate on going to the doctor, going to the doctor for a checkup or for anything. Your pressures are going up and down, and but still you have you don't go to a doctor. Calling your family and friends to see how they are doing, you want to do it, but you think, okay, I'll do tomorrow when I get more time. Paying your monthly bill so that you don't have to worry about them later. Updating your resume, searching for for work, or work of your calling, telling someone you love them, waiting for that perfect moment to start your own enterprise. There's always tomorrow, except when there isn't, right? So overcoming procrastination is difficult but possible. It's not impossible. So the most effective method is taking preventive measures. You need to prevent it, right? Why do we procrastinate? First of all, let's just all get inside our brains. So I made this brain with two eyes there. So these are images by Tim Urban. So check these images. Now you have a project to finish. So before you start, this conversation happens with this little monkey that's inside our brains, right? So we all have inside us and telling us all the time, nope, don't do it now. Nope. So let us watch a bunch of YouTube. What does that little monkey say? Okay, this is a perfect time to get some work done. So the monkey says, no, let's watch a bunch of YouTube videos on creatures of the deep blue sea, and then go on a YouTube spiral that takes us through Richard Feynman and talking about string theory, and ends up watching interviews with Justin Bieber's mom. Then we will reorganize our to-do list. We'll check our masks and yoga pants prices on Amazon and split up our photo albums into smaller, more specific albums. All right. Does this sound familiar? So by then, it's already 2 p.m. and we have an appointment at 4:30. So it'll be too late to really start any work at that point in time, right? So then you know that you have to finish it off, right? Because look at the list on the right side. It's like looking at this, opening the fridge. What are you doing in between? Fantasizing about the completed version. You've not started, but you're fantasizing, throwing a ball up and catching it, depressing nap action and refreshing phone emails, but you haven't yet started, right? So now comes a panic monster. Here's the only one thing that our monkey is scared of. He runs away as soon as he sees this panic monster, and this is how our work, the panic monster gets our work done, right? But however, it's still called the panic monster. So we are panicking and trying to finish off our work. Think, is it the best we can give of ourselves working with the panic monster, or our heads, right? So now each time you procrastinate, recall the panic monster, right? This much about the panic monster. Don't forget the panic monster. So how can, so what can help us actually? So strategies that can help us prevent procrastination, which comes in our way to achieve SMART goals. This works well, and specifically, students, teachers, and all of us can hugely benefit through this. First is the salami technique. What does the salami technique do? It involves breaking down the task into small parts, right? And then working through each of them in order for the task to complete. This is really effective if you have a big piece of work to do and you're finding it hard to get started. So use the salami technique. Making commitments. Research has also found that we work best when we are giving tight deadlines and for projects and assignments. Okay. So like I have to come here at 3:45. I have to start my workshop with y'all at 4 o'clock, but I'm given a deadline at 3:45. So that has helped me. So if I was given 5 minutes earlier, I don't think so, I would have started on time. So if you're working on a large piece, such as studying a full unit, you can give yourself deadlines to have different topics covered within a subject by specific dates. This will help you keep on track and ensure you cover all of the material for a subject in time for the exams. Making commitment, and this really helps students, and making a commitment takes our life to the next level. Also, rewarding yourself, all right? Study doesn't have to be all pain and no gain. So, when you get a piece of work done effectively without wasting time, you should reward yourself with chocolates, cookies, a quick break, actually. Having this reward at the end of the task will keep you motivated towards completing it. So, every time you get a task, keep the three strategies in mind, or else the panic monster is going to come and get you. And then, panic work is not the greatest work. So, I got you a pickle jar today, and this is a work life balance story. Now, a college professor who stood before his class and had some items, in front of him. When the class began, he silently picked up a very large, empty pickle jar and processed it to fill with golf balls. Then he asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was. Then the professor picked up a box of pebbles and put them into a jar. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles rolled into an open area between the golf balls. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. They agreed it was. Next, the professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. And of course, the sand filled up everything else, right? Everything it filled. He asked once more if the jar was full. So each time the students kept responding, yes, yes, it's full. You remember? They started off with the first one, and even now it's full. So the professor took a jar of coffee and poured the entire content into the jar effectively, filling the empty space between the sand. The students laughed and said, now, said the professor as the laughter subsided, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life, right? So anything that you want to take down, so quickly take it down. So the first one, the golf balls are important. They're important things. Your family, your children, your health, your friends, your favorite passion, and everything else. If everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. So true in these times as well, right? The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, your car, and so on. The sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first, there's going to be no room for pebbles or the golf balls, right? It's it shows laundry. You can go without doing laundry for a day, you're cleaning and you're shopping, right? So if you put your sand into the jar first, there is no room for pebbles or for the golf balls. The same goes for life. If you spend all your time and energy on small stuff, you will never have room for things that are important to you. So pay attention to things that are critical to your happiness. Play with your children, spend time with your parents, take your spouse out for dinner, right? And this is how and what you can do is set these SMART goals. There will always be time to clean the house, to do laundry, to take care of the golf, and do take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. Life is not a dress rehearsal, right? The rest is just sand. So one of the students raised a hand and inquired, so what does the coffee represent? The professor smiled. He says, I'm glad you asked. It just goes to show that no matter how full your life may be or it may seem, there's always room for a little extra that you can enjoy. So the moral, you can also put it down, and I'm also going to tell you in 30 seconds. Yes, the moral is life is full of all sorts of distractions, worries and stresses. There can be a lot of sand in your life, but remember that golf balls come first. You can deal with the sand later. Whenever life starts to get too full of sand and you start struggling to fit your golf balls in, have that glass of coffee, milkshake, take a break, reconnect with a friend, and let them help you find a way to fit in that golf balls, right? So, to conclude, right? Be smart, set time management goals, record, analyze, change. Have a growth mindset. Growth mindset people are permanently improving their intelligence and ability to learn new skills. They embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, take responsibilities for their words and actions, and acknowledge that effort is a path towards mastery. It is basically the reason why practice makes you perfect. So, by choosing to make the extra effort to build that growth mindset, you can make your mental processes to work for you, resulting in a greater likelihood that you're getting the result you're looking for and live the life that you want to live. Remember self actualization, overcome procrastination, remember the monkey, and remember the panic monster story each time you procrastinate. All right? Set smart goals. They need to be specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. Make a plan, get to work, stick to a schedule, and there you are. You will reach your goal. So this is what I have to say. But if we just have Bhumiba or Pooja, do we have another 5-7 minutes so I can just give some more general tips, or you want me to stop here?
Yes, ma'am. No, there is a question, ma'am. There's a
Right,
question from Shivangi Mehta, ma'am. She says that sometimes we cannot do what we think, obstacles by mentally, physical, or financial problems. How do we optimize that at that time? So this is a question by her.
right. So this is a very. Can I just stop sharing? Yeah, that okay? Yeah. So and who was the question from?
Shivangi Mehta, ma'am.
Shivangi, first, for us to set up anything for you, you need to, give us that. What is the goal? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to do? Hello. Yes.
I'm putting Shivani on the panel so that she can talk to you. Shivani, you are there on the panel. You can unmute yourself, Shivangi.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, I am a music teacher in Bhavnagar, Gujarat, and I
Great.
want to upgrade myself and every field of my skills. I want to be confident, but somehow I could not achieve what I think. Sometimes it by obstacle by some other thing mentally or yeah. So how do I need to be prepare myself more confident and
Mhm.
please help me out, ma'am,
Yeah.
and nice to having your session, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Shivangi, let me tell you, like the whole um, workshop was all about how you can help your own self, right?
Yes,
So how you can set up smart goals for yourself. So you need
yes,
to put in your smart goal right in the center, right? So if you make your
yes,
smart goal that, I want to I want to have skills, right? So for
yes,
that, what is it that I need, right? So you
yes,
need
ma'am.
to uh, And also put down that slide, if you remember, where I said growth mindset, right? So what do I
Yes.
need that growth mindset? What is stopping me from achieving what I want to achieve,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yes, ma'am.
And then you put down the specific, the specific measurable. So put down the acronym of SMART. So what
Yeah.
does the acronym of SMART mean? It is specific, it's
Speak.
measurable,
Yes.
actionable,
Yes, yes.
then what? Then it's relevant,
Relevant.
then it's, is it
Yes.
time bound, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
again, reevaluate what you're doing and readjust. So if you follow these these small steps, that's what you will reach. You will also have to do, if I don't know if you've taken a picture of that slide which says
Yes,
set
yes. I
goals.
taken, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Yes. So
Mhm.
set your goal. Your goal is to equip yourself, right? To have better
Right.
skills. So which skills do you want? Because there are hundreds and thousands of skills, right? So which is that
Right.
skill you want? So you have to first,
Communication.
yes,
Communication. Yes, ma'am.
communication. So your goal is to set that the communication skills, right? Then you're going to make a
Yes.
plan. And your
Yeah.
plan will include attending these workshops, talking in these workshops. At
That
some point,
it's
you will
very
approach your
beneficial. Yes,
teacher.
ma'am. Exactly. Exactly,
Yes,
ma'am.
absolutely. Then you get set to work.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to approach Thai and tell them, okay, listen, I'm ready for it. Can I get to work? Can I have one presentation? Stick to your
Yes.
plan, right? And then you
Right,
will be.
ma'am.
So that is about, so break your what you want to achieve, break your bigger goal into smaller ones, and then set these small things. And why I've given you these steps, so that each time we can go back to the drawing board and see that, okay, I've written this down, and am I doing, am I going on to the right step? Am I doing the right
Right,
thing?
ma'am.
What is
Yeah.
it that I'm not doing right? I may
Yes,
try
ma'am.
to, you can say, a mind map, so it works for
Right.
me.
Yes, yes. I remember, ma'am. You told yes.
That, and it's good to put it, right in pencil, so that it can be erased, and you don't
Right.
waste paper, and you don't have to keep throwing away those papers, because you are rewriting your goals. Okay.
Exactly, ma'am. Yes, yes. And ma'am, pleasure to listen your precious session. It really, it helps us a lot.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, ma'am.
So
Thank
glad
you.
to help. Yes. Anyone else?
I think no questions as such.
All right.
Yes, Pooja ma'am.
No, I no questions. Only ma'am had a question.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
So
ma'am. Thank you, Tai. Thank you, Pooja, ma'am.
welcome,
Thank you,
Shivani ma'am.
Harsha, ma'am. And thank you, Kusum, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope it's going to help all of you all in setting up smart goals.
Yeah, summing up the session, it was really very interesting, and you did not leave us, at any moment. It was a very catchy session that went on, because the ideas that were briefed entirely were really very effective, that everybody could practice. You started with SMART goals, giving the acronym of specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, time bound, and adding to it evaluate and readjust. Apart from that, ma'am, you also talked about why do we need goals, wherein the Maslow's hierarchy of needs was really very interesting. And in that section, my takeaway was regarding the acronyms that you gave: spur, lurch, and cope. And the apt example of COVID was really very relevant at this times. Everybody could relate to it. The next segment was, how did goals help us in this time of crisis, may it be organizational, departmental, or individual, which was also really very relevant. And strategic goals, in that my takeaway was daily tasks in your plan and sticking to the schedule. And the best was breaking up the long term goals into short term ones. That was really very well illustrated by you. The The next session that talked about segment was what stops you from being smart. This was what I expected, because everybody talks about being smart, how to do it, but what stops you was the elaboration of the segment, which was really needed, in which you discussed about time management, record analysis and change, and procrastination. And the story images regarding procrastination and the monkey in the brain were really very good. We have taken screenshots of all of them. We would like to share it with those teachers who have not attended the session as well. I have taken them without your permission.
No, no, please, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's there for everyone.
And yeah, the time management, I think everybody could relate to it, was the overdose of social media, which I will also relate to, and prioritizing the tasks. And the most important thing in that was the alignment of aims and the time spent, which has to match. Now that alignment, I think I will also have to make a list of, because that exactly matches how goal setting is done, or how you come closer to your goal setting and achieving them. And the pickle story is really wonderful. Thank you, ma'am. It was
Thank you.
really a very interesting session, and a lot of takeaways from a single session, I must say.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you very
beautiful.
much.
You summed it up. Thank you so much for that. I hope it's going to help everyone. Thank you so